Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and today Eitan and I are here to share with you the impact that our quest for justice and rectification can have on our lives. And it's such an interesting focus for me personally, and I think for the world at large in our times when there is so much injustice and unfairness that we can perceive visibly with our eyes on a daily basis, especially since the internet makes the world so small. But the Kabbalists thousands of years ago were so clear with us, so direct in their guidance of how to experience life in the fullest and most blessed way possible. And one of their strongest warnings was on seeking justice and judging others. And between the energy of this week and the coming shift we have on Thursday and Friday to the new Moon of Virgo, which comes with its own set of work that we are going to break down over the next few weeks, it's an important conversation that we have so we don't fall to the trap of interfering with our own blessings by seeking the redemption of others and becoming the judge and jury for the universe. Weekly Energy Boost is a 7-day spiritual weather forecast where we provide our listeners with the most practical and most powerful tools to help navigate the coming 7 days as we learn it from the teachings of Kabbalah. So that every episode we share wisdom, tools, stories, and situations to help illuminate the path that's not only going to make this week the best week of your year for you, it's wisdom that can be used any week of the year, any year of your life. And that convergence of the temptation to judge this week is what inspires our conversation. But honestly, again, we could have this conversation any week because there's always the trap of jumping to conclusions, judging too quickly, wanting others to get what's theirs, thinking things are unfair, I deserve, they don't deserve, and that whole head trip that, again, we're human beings, it's natural and it's normal. We're so unaware of how much those thoughts and behaviors can be interfering with our own joy and fulfillment. So, Eitan, how should we begin?
I would start with defining, according to the Zohar and Kabbalah, justice or judgment. Energy of judgment or justice refer to no space between cause and effect, action, reaction. Energy of judgment means you do good, you get good right away. You do bad, you get bad right away. And yes, we know there's always a bigger picture of cause and effect. Whatever energy I'm injecting in some way affects my life. But the problem is that we don't see how the dots are connected. And instead of worrying about my business, which is how can I improve the type of actions and thoughts and words that I'm injecting, very often we busy demanding justice on unfair situations of people out there, or the people that I know, or people that I got hurt, or people that are upsetting me. And what is the problem about that? So it says that the Creator created our physical world with the attribute of mercy. What is mercy? Mercy means, let's say I'm doing something negative. I had a weak moment and I was selfish. I had a weak moment, I spat bad about someone. Negative energy. Mercy means have a space and compassion, between the immediate negative consequence of that, that allows me to rethink, that allows me to grow, that allows me to act differently, that allows me to regret and to change my way. That's called mercy. When a merciful parent looks at their child that did something wrong, pause with love, with mercy, with compassion, not immediate demanding punishment. There might be, they might need some boundaries, they might need some tough talk, but internally be merciful. That's how the universe towards us, the light of the Creator. Imagine for every little negative thought, little jealousy, negative word, selfish behavior that nobody sees. Imagine the universe will demand instant consequence, instant smack, cause and effect. Do you want to live this way? Are you ready to tell the creator, the universe, yes, I'm ready. I want immediate cause and effect for anything that I'm doing. Let me tell you something. I don't want it. Because the creator, the universe, is merciful with all of us. In spite of our wrongdoing, give us the chance to change, to shift, to hug us. At the moment, I am looking at other people and I'm saying, that's wrong, that's bad. That person is in my bad book already, in my blacklist. Instant judgment, unfair. I don't care where they came from. I don't care what they went through. At the moment I'm starting to demand immediate judgment, the consequence for other people, my perception of bad behavior, unfair behavior, I'm blocking myself to receive the mercy of the universe and I'm attracting judgment upon myself. That energy hurting the other person, hurting me, and polluting the universe. And that's what this week is about, transforming judgments to mercy. Maybe it was wrong. Does it mean that's it? I'm erasing that person? I'm demanding blood? Do I see the big picture? And by me having this type of judgmental energy, which sometimes a person is happy for the other person suffer because they deserve it, that types of energy, opening the gate for that energy on me, not because God is judgmental. God is not. Because I'm blocking the force of the Creator and I'm creating spirits and angels that demands judgment. So it's really a choice. Even the way we judge ourselves, we made a mistake. I'm horrible, I'm horrible, I'm horrible. I made a mistake. Mercy. Pause. Give space. Loving mother, loving father, look at yourself from compassion. What can I learn? What can I change? I'm not gone. So, what energy am I choosing to lead from? Judgment or mercy?
It's interesting. I had a conversation with someone about this exact subject a few days ago, and she came to me saying, I know I shouldn't be feeling this way, but I can't help it, right? I have a story that I've heard about this person, and to be honest, I'm glad something bad is happening to them as a result. So I broke up the reason that what she's choosing to focus on is so dangerous is twofold. First of all, she we all, when we judge someone based upon an article we read about them, a story that we heard about them, something from their past, we're essentially allowing a moment or a situation which may be convoluted by itself, right? You hear gossip about somebody, it's never going to be purely factual and evidential. It's going to be colored by emotion, drama, sparkle, by not only who's telling you about it, but who told them about it. And it becomes this classic broken telephone situation. That judging, like you were saying, it's not our job. There's a whole system in place. The laws of cause and effect are precise and perfect. And we're not in the department of deciding who gets what experience based on what thoughts, words, and actions. So when we take the role of this person is bad, that person is good, essentially, we're attracting judgment to ourselves. And maybe that's clear and we can see how that may be harmful, and what you shared, Eitan, I think really drives it home. What we don't necessarily think about, which I told her, my concern is not for this person you're judging, it's for you and your spiritual well-being and the effort that you put in on a daily basis to elevate and to grow and to transform, that when you're in that state of judgment, it's almost as if you take yourself and your own spiritual progress back to square one. And we talk about a similar idea when we talk about the subject of evil speech. We had an episode earlier this year about it, that talking about someone else, right? It's so, forget about if it's true or if it's not, the harm on us isn't worth it. It's bad business. When we celebrate someone else's misfortune, we attach ourselves to the reality where good and bad exist, where the physical reality controls us more than the metaphysical reality. And in the same way that our consciousness creates our reality, if my consciousness is mired in judgment and what's right and wrong and who deserves and who doesn't deserve, I myself am removing myself from being able to access the light that I've revealed through the good I have done. And I see that many people wonder, they say, I'm a great person, I'm doing good things, I'm charitable, I'm kind, but in the confines of their home, they're judging, they're gossiping, they're spreading rumors, they create their own judge and jury on their living room couch. And they wonder why the blessings that they're working so hard to achieve aren't coming to fruition. So to me, a lot of this work, not only this week, but in the month of Virgo, is having that honest assessment about the things that I do that are aligned with my higher goals, my spiritual desires, my plan for expansion and healing and transformation, and to make a plan to remove the things that are anything but that. Anything that's out of alignment with my spiritual goals is not only putting me at a standstill, it's bringing me backwards. And of course, backwards is relative. You can say there's no such thing, but at the same time, I think that there's this perception within each one of us that when we're not behaving, when we're not being spiritual, and it doesn't really affect other people, it's not that big of a deal. Then Kabbalah comes and says to us, it's really all about alignment. The more like the light of the Creator that you are, the more light you will reveal. And the less aligned with the Creator you're going to be, the less light you will experience. So being in that, focusing on the darkness, and I think that's the barometer. Am I looking for the good or am I looking for the bad? Am I looking for darkness or am I looking for light? And to constantly ask myself that question also removes the judgment from my own life. Because when I am in the practice of looking for the light, I'm not only going to see it when I look at others' lives, I'm going to recognize how much more blessed and connected and aligned I am more in my own life as well.
So let me ask you a question, Elisheva.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you would love not to judge and you would love not to complain in your mind. It's unfair, it's unfair. But you get upset with someone and you're bombarded with these thoughts of judgment and unfairness. So, what would I say some of the practical spiritual tools to shift that mindset? I get it. To have judgmental mind is a bad business. To demand justice is a bad business. To say unfair, it's a bad business because it's attracting that same energy. I remember the Rav Berg once said, you look at your life and other people, it's unfair, then you know what you're doing? You're turning on the fair computer, not the merciful computer. And that's dangerous. Because if you want to actually pay for every mistake in your life, that's the fair that you want. None of us wants that. So what would be some of the tools, Elisheva, to shift that mindset? When you're already bombarded, you're attached to it. It mixed with emotions. It's tough just to let go.
It's funny because I was going to say that I think we need to distinguish between the proactive prevention and the you're already reactive interruption of being in that place. So if you're already triggered, and I do think there is a lot to say about being honest with yourself and knowing that we all need intention around this area of our life, right? To ask, I remember many times again hearing Karen Berg saying, asking to see through the eyes of the Creator, asking to hear through the ears of the Creator that will desire at a deeper level to no longer behave in those ways, but also in the heat of the moment, which I think we tend to think that we're out of control. In that moment, once you catch yourself being reactive, judging, saying that's not fair, asking for retribution, to pause for a moment. And of course, the key is always going to be the pausing and the catching yourself. Without that, none of us really stand a chance. But to, in that moment, pause and seek out one positive thing about that person. You may say that it's giving them the benefit of the doubt. I find that it's better for my own mental and spiritual well-being to assume that everyone is doing the best with the tools that they have. For me, not for them. That I live in a better headspace when I'm judging everyone is doing their best. That's my assumption. But in that moment, if I can look, and it happens, and this is full disclosure, sometimes I'll be in a supermarket and I will hear a mother speaking very harshly to their child in a way that might feel damaging to me. And I will look at that or hear what she's saying. And even though I feel terribly for the child, I imagine the light connected them. And I know that she's doing her best. And I assume that she must be so stressed. And I bless her. I send her energy. I send her light. And I imagine her heart lighting up and know that that's what's going to help the laws of cause and effect activate much more so than me judging her, giving her side eye, exhaling and making contact with another person in the supermarket who's also like, oh my God, that was so horrible. To really embody the light, especially when confronted with darkness, is really the name of the game. I don't know that there's of course, each person is on their own journey, but the moment that you catch yourself in whatever dark space, even if it's triggered by something you didn't do, you didn't say, you just saw something or read something or heard something, to catch yourself, to pause when you feel yourself going there and say, I don't have the whole picture. I'm sure they're going through a struggle. I've said so many times on the podcast, right? Hurt people hurt people. When you see someone behaving badly, you need to know there's a story behind that. And it didn't happen in a vacuum. And to pray for that person, right? What do you get? And of course, your ego gets something. But I'm asking you, your soul right now, what do you get by judging them? What do you get by being harsh? Nothing. Maybe your ego feels good for a minute. It makes you feel like, well, the rest of the world is going to hell in a handbasket. I don't really need to work too hard on myself because I'm in the, top 1%. That's not helping anybody, certainly not you. So as we pull on our bootstraps for the month of Virgo, and that work is very specific, and we will get into it this week, we will get into it in the coming weeks, what you need to know as on Thursday and Friday we move out of the month of Leo and into the month of Virgo. The month of Virgo is really a 30-day workshop that helps us take all of the darkness from the past year that we revealed or were part of or somehow awakened, and allows us to go back. If we do the work, it doesn't happen by itself. If we do the work in the month of Virgo, we get to replace those dark moments with light. So it can't be a coincidence that this week is pushing us to do that work already, not for the whole year, but just for this week. When you catch yourself contributing to the darkness, replace it with light. When you catch yourself getting into judge and jury mode, just stop it. just catch yourself and just say, you know what? I don't want the consequences of this judgment on me. Send them love. Bless them. Be supportive. Be loving. Ask that mom in the supermarket if you can help with it. Does she need anything? Whatever it is. Not from a place of ego, I know better, thank God that's not me, to we're all in this together, right? The world is one big boat, and we're all treading water, so to speak. We're all rowing frantically, and me judging how someone else is rowing the boat is not making me a better rower. What is making me a better rower is seeing how I can be part of the solution. And at the very least you can do, it's to send the other person light and bless them. That this will be a turning point for them. And every individual that has their own turning point, their own awakening, creates a shift for every single one of us. And so on Thursday and Friday, it's every so often the new moon falls across 2 days. So we have the 48 hours to be extra intentional, extra proactive, extra kind and compassionate, really to be on our best behavior, not only with the world, but also in places where no one actually sees us, to be kind with ourselves, to be gentle with ourselves, because the nature of the Virgo is to be judgmental, to be critical, to be hard on themselves and others. And we all become a little Virgo this month. We're going to talk in the coming weeks about how to use that gift for good and not to let us feel blame, shame, or regret, to turn the regret into growth. But until we go there, just make sure that you use this week, and then specifically Thursday and Friday, even Saturday, to be more compassionate, to be more kind, gentle, gracious with yourself and others, and to save the critical eye that you may feel suddenly awakened within you, to save it for the spiritual work that we're going to break down over the next 4 episodes. Weekly Energy Boost is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow us on those platforms to receive even more guidance and support on how to implement what we talk about in every episode. You can also go to weeklyenergyboost.com to search through our archives, send us your questions, and click the donate button to help make Weekly Energy Boost possible. But as always, when you share these episodes, you think about the people in your life who need this message, who are looking for inspiration, who are searching for answers, and you send them the episode, you really do change the world, because every time one person flips on the light for themselves, the whole world is a brighter place. So thanks for doing that. And we'll see you next week on the Weekly Energy Boost.